Okay, so I have been watching this Shea McGuire storyline on 90 Day Fiancé Season 12, and honestly, it just keeps getting worse. Like every single week there's a new thing. First his ex-wife shows up threatening to expose him, then his daughter, who literally lives next door by the way, starts telling his fiancé all his dirty secrets. Then fans dig up an arrest from 2021 in Florida. Then Shea himself casually admits he kisses other women at parties, but doesn't think that's cheating. And now we found out his ex-wife has her own arrest record with some pretty wild charges on it. So I sat down and put together everything we know about this couple. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why 90 Day Fiancé fans are begging TLC to do better background checks on their cast. Shea McGuire is 54 years old. He lives in Paducah, Kentucky, which is a smaller city out in western Kentucky. He's a Century 21 realtor, and actually a pretty successful one. Looking at his profile, he was named top realtor in Paducah in 2014 and led the entire western Kentucky region in sales in 2015 and 2016. So this isn't some struggling guy. This is a genuinely well-off southern realtor with money, a lake house, the whole thing. That's why TLC calls him Paducah's local celebrity. Now, the personal side. Shea has been married twice before Anabelle came along. He has 4 kids from those 2 marriages, 3 from his first wife, and 1 from his second wife, Nicole. And spoiler alert, both of those relationships play a huge role in this story. Anabelle Chua is also 54. She's from Iloilo City in the Philippines, and she works as a caretaker. Now if Shea is the loud, party-throwing Southern charm guy, Anabelle is basically his opposite, shy, sweet, quiet. Doesn't even have social media. TLC literally calls her the yin to his yang. And here's one detail that's kind of a lot. Anabelle apparently takes care of Shea in some pretty intense ways. Full body scrub downs, dressing him head to toe, even cutting his toenails. That's like a lot. And it tells you something about the dynamic between them right from the start. Alright, so how did these two even meet in the first place? Because depending on who you ask, you get 2 very different answers. Shea's version is that he met Anabelle through his good friend Greg. Greg's wife is apparently best friends with Anabelle, so they got introduced through that circle. And Shea has said on his confessional that meeting Anabelle wasn't anything I was looking for. He calls her a godsend and says God just brought her into his life. Very sweet, very romantic. Except, and this is where things get shady, his ex-wife Nicole tells a completely different version of when this all started. According to Nicole, Shea wasn't single when he met Anabelle. He was married to her. And she found out he was talking to Anabelle behind her back while they were still married. That's a huge accusation. That's basically saying, my marriage ended because of the woman you're now marrying. Now, here's the thing. If Nicole was making this up out of spite, that would be one thing. But she showed up on the show. She talked about it on camera. She posted about it publicly on Facebook. This isn't just whispers from a bitter ex. She's putting her name on it. So somebody's not telling the truth, and I'll let you decide who you believe by the end of this. Nicole posted a whole detailed statement on Facebook about her history with Shea, and it goes back way further than most fans realized. She said she was 21 years old when she first met Shea. He was 34 at the time. She was a single mom of a 1-year-old daughter, and Shea was, quote, kind and considerate, helped with my little girl, spent plenty of money, and seemed financially stable. Sounds great, right? Except, there's one detail she added that changes everything. Shea was already married. He was married to his first wife when he started up with Nicole, but he told Nicole he was supposedly divorcing, and even claimed he had divorce papers drawn up. Nicole said she believed him at first, but he didn't divorce. He kept going back and forth between his wife and Nicole. Nicole even had children with him during this time, while he was still legally married to someone else. She calls it a trauma bond that lasted for years. They finally got officially married in 2021, and within just 1 month, they were already divorced. 1 month, married for 30 days. Why did it end that fast? Because according to Nicole, by that point Shea was already seeing Anabelle. So she spent all those years fighting to get him to marry her, finally got him to the altar, and he was already halfway out the door with a new woman. That's Nicole's whole warning to Anabelle. This isn't a guy who cheats one time and learns his lesson. This is a pattern. This is what he does. Nicole hinted that Shea has also been involved with his best friend's daughter. His best friend. His daughter. Who is apparently recently divorced. Now, I want to be careful here because Nicole didn't come out and say this with proof. She implied it heavily, but didn't fully confirm the allegation. So, I'm not going to state it as fact, but here's what's interesting about the pattern. If you look at how Shea meets women, there's something consistent about it. He met Nicole because she was in his social circle. He met Anabelle through his friend Greg's wife. And now, Nicole is saying there's this thing going on with his best friend's daughter. This isn't a guy who's using dating apps. This isn't random encounters at bars. Every relationship in his life traces back through his own friend group, which is a whole different level of thing. Because if that's true, it means Shea is systematically going through his own social network looking for the next relationship. And that means the women in his life are all connected to each other, all finding out about each other through mutual friends, which is exactly how Nicole knows about Anabelle, and how Allison, Shea's daughter, has been able to tell Anabelle things about her dad. Speaking of Allison, we need to talk about her, because she's a whole storyline by herself. Allison is Shea's adult daughter from his first marriage. And where does she live? Right next door to Shea. Like, literally next door, not down the block, next door. So, when Anabelle came to America on her K-1 visa to marry Shea, she wasn't just moving into his house. She was moving into a house that's practically touching his grown daughter's house. And that grown daughter apparently has zero interest in being nice to her. Allison first showed up in episode 3. Before she even walked in the door, Shea warned Anabelle about her. He actually said, this is a quote, "I told you, Allison is kind of a boss and a bully." He called her the boss hen. Which is wild because that's his daughter. He's admitting she's a bully. And she lives 10 feet away. And ever since then, Allison has been on a mission. She's been telling Anabelle every piece of dirt she has on her dad. She told her Shea still loves Nicole. She's been showing her evidence of his flirty behavior. Basically doing everything possible to blow up this engagement. Anabelle finally snapped and called Allison a spoiled brat in an argument. And okay, maybe that's true. Maybe Allison is a spoiled brat who doesn't want to share her dad. But you know what? She's also telling Anabelle the truth. And Anabelle deserves to hear it. Now let's get to something Shea admitted on the show himself. In his own words, on camera, Shea kisses other women at his parties. He said it, plain as day, in the season premiere. His exact quote was, "Maybe at a party or something, I kissed a chick. To me, that's not cheating. That's having a good time." Okay, let's break that down for a second. First, a chick. Really? That's how you refer to women. Fine, whatever. That's just Shea being Shea. Second, and more importantly, he genuinely believes that kissing other women isn't cheating. He's not saying it in a joking way. He's saying it like it's a reasonable position. But then, in the same segment, he also admitted, "I don't tell Anabelle every single thing that goes on at the parties." Wait, hold up. If it's not cheating, why are you hiding it? You only hide things you know your partner would be upset about. So Shea himself knows this behavior would break Anabelle's trust. He's just decided that his definition matters more than hers. And later in the season, there was a scene at his lake house party, where Anabelle actually saw him flirting with other women right in front of her. And you could see her face just fall. Like all the stuff Nicole and Allison had been telling her suddenly made sense. Oh, and Shea had another quote from the premiere that came back to bite him. "What happens at the lake stays at the lake," which is a fun saying until you find out about the arrest that didn't stay at the lake. So while Shea was on the show talking about his party lifestyle, fans started digging, and what they found is actually a documented arrest. Back on July 3rd, 2021, Shea was arrested in Florida, not Kentucky, for boating while intoxicated. This wasn't a Paducah lake party. He was down in Florida on Henderson Lake near a town called Inverness. Here's what happened. Florida Wildlife Commission officers noticed his pontoon boat had improper navigation lights, so they stopped to do a safety check. And as they got closer, they watched Shea do what's called a bait and switch. meaning he swapped seats with another passenger to try to make it look like he wasn't the one driving. The officers weren't fooled. When they made contact, Shea was, according to the arrest report, unstable on his feet. They asked him if he'd been drinking, and he said, and I quote, "Yeah, I've been drinking." Then he refused to take a blood test, urine test, or a breathalyzer. He got arrested, but here's where he got lucky. He eventually pleaded no contest to a lesser charge of reckless operation of a vehicle. So, he didn't get formally convicted of the DUI BWI. He got sentenced to 6 months probation, 25 hours of community service, a boater safety course, and a substance abuse evaluation. His probation was terminated in May of 2022. So, it's on his record, but the specific boating while intoxicated charge got dropped down. Still, refused 3 tests, admitted to drinking, tried to switch seats to hide he was driving. That's not nothing. But wait, because just when you think Shea is the bad guy of this story, we found out something about Nicole. Nicole, the ex-wife who came on the show to expose him, actually has her own arrest record. And it's not 1 arrest, it's at least 3. According to court records dug up by an Instagram account, Nicole has been arrested in Kentucky multiple times, mostly in 2024 and 2025. Her charges include driving with a suspended DUI license, criminal trespassing, possession of marijuana, disorderly conduct, drug paraphernalia, menacing, and, this one's a big one, assault in the 4th degree. Though the records note there was no visible injury. So Nicole isn't exactly a spotless source. She's a woman with real credibility issues telling us about a guy with his own credibility issues. Which honestly makes this whole thing more complicated. Because both of them have stuff on their record. Both of them have things they've lied about or hidden. And Anabelle is stuck in the middle trying to figure out who to believe. I'm not saying Nicole is lying. Her Facebook statement is very detailed, and she has years of history with Shea to back up what she's saying. But you have to acknowledge, she's not coming to this conversation with clean hands either. So where does all this leave us? Are Shea and Anabelle still together? Honestly, it's unclear. Some spoiler accounts are reporting that they actually did get married back in December. Others are saying they've completely stopped interacting. Both Shea and Anabelle have gone silent on social media, which is unusual because most season 12 couples have been actively posting. When both people in a couple go quiet at the same time, it's usually not a good sign. Either they broke up and don't want to talk about it, or they're saving the drama for the finale. If they did get married, I honestly don't see it lasting. Because if Nicole's core message is right, that this is a pattern, not a one-time mistake, then Anabelle is going to end up exactly where Nicole ended up. Cycled through, replaced by the next woman in Shea's friend group. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Shea actually changed. Maybe Anabelle is the one who breaks the pattern. We'll find out in the finale. That's the whole Shea and Anabelle situation. Ex-wife expose, next-door daughter drama, kissing at parties, Florida arrest, and now Nicole's own criminal record making the whole thing messier than it looked. If you want more Season 12 breakdowns like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. I've got all more coming, and drop a comment. Do you believe Nicole, or do you think she's just a bitter ex who's stretching the truth? I'll see you in the next one.